Hello, my loves. This is Selena Hart, and tonight I want to speak to the part of you that already knows something is ending, not because it failed, but because its time has come. On July 10th, 2025, we step into the light of a Capricorn full moon that is anything but ordinary. This is not just another lunar event. This is a cosmic rupture, an energetic detonation that's been building quietly, relentlessly for months, and now it can no longer be ignored. The universe is intervening, not to destroy you, but to wake you up, to shake the dust from your soul and ask, are you still pretending you can keep living this way? This full moon marks a crossroads between two powerful archetypes. Cancer, the mother, the nurturer, the inner emotional core that longs to feel safe. And Capricorn, the father, the builder, the outer structure that demands discipline and responsibility. When the sun stands in Cancer and the moon faces it directly from Capricorn, the energy becomes intensely personal. You are not just looking at the sky, you are looking at yourself, at the tension between who you are in private and who the world expects you to be. You might feel raw, exposed, or deeply conflicted. That's because this lunation is pulling apart the illusion that you can be everything to everyone and still stay true to your own heart. But that's only the beginning. Because this full moon doesn't come alone, it brings with it a T-square configuration, placing Saturn and Neptune in Aries at a pressure point with both the sun and the moon. In astrology, a T-square is not just geometry, it's a crucible. It forces a confrontation. You are being pushed into the corners of your life where avoidance no longer works. It might be your job, your relationship, your inner dialogue. Somewhere, something is coming undone, not to punish you, but to liberate you from the lie that comfort equals alignment. Saturn says, face what's real. Neptune says, let go of the illusion. And in the middle, you are standing bare, unguarded, and on the edge of a decision that might change everything. 3 days ago, Uranus entered Gemini, and that alone would be enough to rattle your system. Uranus is the great awakener. It does not ask permission. It flips the switch in your nervous system, reroutes your thought patterns, and rewrites your inner code. In Gemini, its work is fast, mental, unpredictable. This begins a new 7-year cycle of revolution, one that happens not in the streets or the sky, but in your mind. New ideas will hit you like lightning. Old beliefs will fall apart mid-sentence. Conversations you never thought you'd have will come pouring out of your mouth. This is not just a shift in perspective. It is a full-on neural overhaul. When you place these 3 astrological events on the same timeline, Cancer, Capricorn, polarity, the T-square, with Saturn and Neptune, and Uranus entering Gemini, you are looking at what astrologers call a perfect storm, not because it's chaotic, but because it's exact, timed, deliberate. The energies are not punishing you. They are inviting you into your next becoming. But becoming is rarely gentle. It often begins with the fall, with the ache in your chest, with the voice that whispers, I can't do this anymore. That voice is sacred. It's not weakness, it's your soul telling you the truth. So if you're feeling the pressure, if you're questioning everything, if your body has been carrying strange sensations or your mind won't stop racing, you're not broken. You're being cracked open for something more. This full moon is the doorway. And you, my love, you're already standing in the threshold. And now let's talk about what your body has been trying to tell you. Quietly at first, then louder, more insistently until it becomes impossible to ignore. You may have noticed tension building in places that don't usually carry this kind of weight. The center of your palms, the back of your neck, the space between your shoulder blades. These are not just physical symptoms, they are signals. They are the language of your energy centers. Waking up, preparing, recalibrating. You are not imagining it. This is not random discomfort. These are sacred sites within your physical form responding to a rising energetic current you may not yet have words for. The palms, where you give and receive. The neck, where you carry pride, responsibility, and unspoken words. The upper back, where you've stored burdens that were never yours to carry. All of them are asking, will you finally listen? Your sleep has likely been irregular, interrupted, vivid, surreal. Maybe you've been waking up at the same strange hour every night or slipping into dreams that feel more like journeys than rest. These are not just byproducts of stress or overstimulation. The veil is thinner now. The line between your waking mind and your deeper wisdom has blurred. Your subconscious is speaking louder, using symbols, memories, even people from your past to show you what needs to be seen. You might wake up with a strange feeling in your chest, a thought that won't let go, a knowing you can't explain. That's not coincidence. That's clarity emerging from the dark. Emotionally, it may feel like everything is turned up too loud. You cry more easily. You feel irritable and raw. One moment you're deeply nostalgic. The next you're consumed by a sudden urge to break free from everything familiar. This isn't instability, it's movement. The old emotional architecture is shaking loose. And with it comes a flood of feeling you've been holding back for months, maybe years. Let it come, let it break, let it cleanse. You don't need to be graceful, you just need to be honest. Most importantly, your intuition is no longer whispering, it's ringing like a bell. The gut feelings, the inner nudges, the flashes of insight, they're becoming impossible to dismiss. That knowing you feel in your bones, the subtle urge to turn left when logic says go right, that uncomfortable truth you've been pushing down for years, it's all coming up now, not to haunt you, but to free you. You are not being punished, you are being prepared to finally trust the part of you that has always known, and that part of you is speaking louder than ever under this moon. And now comes the part we try the hardest to avoid, the structural unraveling. The Capricorn Full Moon doesn't simply illuminate the emotional tides within you. It casts its relentless light on the outer architecture of your life. The roles you play, the identity you've built, the relationships you maintain, the job you cling to, even the quiet beliefs that shape your every decision. None of it escapes this moment. Everything is up for review. Everything is being asked to reveal what it's truly made of. You may feel like the ground beneath you is shifting, but the truth is, it's not the ground that's moving, it's your old life, unrooting itself from a version of you that no longer exists. What once felt certain might now feel hollow. What once provided safety may now feel like a cage. And this is not cruelty, it's clarity. You will notice the pressure first in the places you've been avoiding. The career that once gave you status but now leaves you depleted. The relationship that looks good on the outside but suffocates your truth behind closed doors. The belief systems that shaped you in childhood but now contradict everything your soul is beginning to understand. These aren't small inconveniences, these are fault lines. And under this full moon, they will begin to crack. But not to destroy you. That's never been the point. These structures are breaking down because they were never meant to hold the weight of who you're becoming. They were built for survival, not for freedom. And now you're being asked to choose freedom, even if it means watching parts of your old life fall apart in the process. This isn't about throwing everything away in a moment of chaos. It's about radical honesty. It's about recognizing which parts of your life feel aligned and which ones you've outgrown. The discomfort isn't the enemy. The discomfort is the doorway. If you've been pretending, this moon will reveal it. If you've been performing, it will feel exhausting. If you've been staying somewhere because it's familiar, even if it's untrue, that familiarity will start to feel unbearable. This is not a punishment. This is your liberation, because once the illusions collapse, what's left is real. And real is what you've been craving all along. So yes, the structures may fall, but what rises in their place will be yours, fully, finally, and irrevocably. But perhaps the most intimate battlefield lies not in your job or your relationships, but in the quiet war unfolding inside your own emotional body. The moon in Capricorn has a way of hardening us, of pulling us out of feeling and into function. Under its influence, you may find yourself defaulting to logic, numbing what hurts, trying to solve your grief with productivity. It's a familiar defense, especially for those who've had to be strong for too long. Capricorn teaches endurance, but sometimes at the cost of softness. And when it opposes the sun in Cancer, the result is an internal tug of war between your need to feel deeply and your instinct to stay composed. A part of you wants to cry, to retreat, to be held. Another part urges you to keep going, to stay disciplined, to get back to work. Neither side is wrong, but neither can fully lead the way on its own anymore. This inner conflict becomes sharper under the square to Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer. Chiron exposes the quiet, often hidden wound of not feeling enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough, not seen. In Aries, this pain is personal. It attacks your very right to take up space, to assert your truth, to be here as you are without apology. The Capricorn moon, with its high expectations and sharp edges, can amplify this wound. You may find yourself judging your own emotions, suppressing them as weakness, or convincing yourself that you need to be more, do more, before you're allowed to rest, to feel, to exist without effort. This is the shadow of Capricorn at work, and under this moon, it becomes impossible to ignore, but that's exactly where the invitation lies. This moon doesn't want you to suppress your emotions. It wants you to contain them with grace, to build stronger emotional structures, not walls, to honor your tenderness without abandoning your strength. And that begins by acknowledging the fear that says, if I stop being useful, will I still be loved? That voice is old. It comes from a time when survival depended on performance, but that time is over now. You are being called to lead, but not by denying your wounds, by integrating them, by standing in your truth, not in spite of your pain, but because of the wisdom it gave you. And while the outer world may be loud, your dreams during this time will become sacred whispers from beyond the veil. The nights surrounding this full moon carry a rare softness, a mystical opening, where the boundary between worlds thins and your subconscious takes the lead. Don't dismiss the strange scenes that play out behind your closed eyes. Your dreams are not accidents. They are blueprints, maps, messages. They will speak to you in metaphor, in memory, in symbols you may not fully understand at first, but that will stir something ancient inside you. Some of you will see faces from the past. Others will glimpse futures not yet lived. Some will receive messages so clear they feel like prophecy. All of it matters, every fragment, every feeling. So write them down. Keep a journal by your bedside. Honor your dreamscape as if it were a temple, because in many ways it is. These dreams are your soul's way of showing you what your waking mind isn't yet ready to admit. They will guide you gently but firmly toward what's next. They may reveal what you must release or who. They may offer clarity about a decision you've been circling for weeks, even months. They may stir longing or grief or awe. Whatever comes, let it come. Let the dream speak. Because in the quiet hours of night when the world goes still, it is often your highest self who finally has the room to speak. And once the brilliance of the full moon fades from the sky, the real work quietly begins. This isn't the end. This is the integration. Because even after the emotional upheaval, the revelations, the release, your soul will need time to stitch itself back together with intention. That's where the cosmic timing becomes so precise it almost feels orchestrated, because just 1 week after this lunar climax, on July 17, Mercury stations retrograde in Leo. And no, this isn't just another retrograde to fear or complain about. This is a sacred pause, a universal slowing down that arrives with uncanny wisdom, giving you exactly what you didn't know you needed: space. Space to reflect, space to rewire, space to remember who you are now after everything that just broke open. Mercury retrograde in Leo isn't about going backward. It's about turning inward. Leo rules the heart, the ego, the identity we wear in public. And under this influence, you are asked to reevaluate the story you've been telling about yourself. The full moon may have shown you what no longer works, but Mercury retrograde gives you the chance to ask, what do I want to rebuild instead? It's a time to sit with your thoughts before turning them into action, to revisit your intentions before making promises, to be deeply honest about what parts of your old identity you're still clinging to, and whether they truly reflect the truth that's now awakening in you. This post-lunar cycle unfolds in 3 sacred steps, each one building on the last. First, the full moon in Capricorn brings the breakdown, the collapse of the old systems, the piercing truth, the emotional purge. It strips you of the illusions you've used as scaffolding. Then comes Mars, currently in Virgo, offering precision, focus, and the energy to begin addressing what's been revealed. Mars doesn't act on impulse in Virgo. It works with care, with discernment, with strategy. It helps you clean up the mess piece by piece and lay the groundwork for a more sustainable future. Finally, Mercury retrograde becomes the third and most subtle phase. Like the breath between heartbeats, this is the review, the revision, the internal quality check before life asks you to move forward again. You are not being rushed, you are being refined. And yes, it may feel slow, it may feel like you're standing still, but stillness is not stagnation. It is alignment. Every moment you spend in reflection, in rewording your truth, in reclaiming the parts of yourself that were silenced or scattered is a moment of deep spiritual recalibration. Don't skip this phase. Don't try to outrun it. Transformation that lasts is never instantaneous. It's deliberate. It's conscious. It's rooted in cycles. So let yourself be in the in-between. Let yourself float in the uncertainty for a while, because it's in this space between what was and what will be that you become something entirely new. And when the dust finally settles, when the moonlight softens and the sky returns to stillness, something inside you will be different, even if you can't quite name it yet. You may wake up and everything around you appears the same, the walls of your room, the sound of your own breath, the rhythm of your daily rituals. But you, beloved, are no longer who you were. Something subtle but irreversible has shifted. The fears that used to grip you so tightly, they no longer hold the same weight. The voice that once doubted every step you took has grown quieter. The habits, the masks, the patterns that kept you small, they no longer feel like home. A part of your old self has quietly stepped back, not in a blaze of glory, but in a deep exhale. And something wiser, older, more certain has taken its place. This metamorphosis doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives as a steady calm after the storm, a new kind of silence in your mind, a strength that no longer needs to prove itself. You won't need to announce this change to the world. It will live in your energy, in your boundaries, in the way you say yes to what is true and no to what no longer serves. This full moon was never about spectacle. It was about evolution. It came to dissolve the outdated versions of you so the real one could emerge, not as a brand new person, but as the one you were always meant to be before the world told you to be anything else. Oh no, this is not the end. It's not a closing chapter, a final goodbye, or a dramatic finish. This is the beginning. A quieter, deeper, more sacred beginning, a return to the self you forgot somewhere along the way. The full moon in Capricorn did not just illuminate the sky, it illuminated you. And now you are standing at the edge of a new story, one that no longer begins with survival, but with sovereignty. One that does not revolve around proving, pleasing, or performing, but around presence, around truth, around coming home to yourself. This is your rebirth. Not loud, not rushed, but inevitable. And this time, you don't need permission to become. You already are.